This is your fifth DWI, ma'am. You're saying it's not. So you have money, then you can avoid being held responsible. Why do the rich people get treated differently? I thought that we were all treated fairly under the law. All right. This is class number 25, CR 441. You were Tammy Dunaway Judice.
Correct.
Excuse me. And you were with Mr. Adams, your attorney, and the state's attorney. The earlier you pleaded guilty to operating a motor vehicle while intoxicated, but this is a third-degree felony because you pleaded true to the second paragraph, which included allegations of 4 prior DWI convictions dating back to 2007. And paragraphs 1 and 2 constitute a third-degree felony, so you were facing up to 10 years in prison. The agreement is whatever sentence shall not exceed a cap of 6 years in prison, so you're looking at no less than 2 nor more than 6 years in prison. And you could be convicted, sentenced to up to 6 years in prison. That could be suspended and you could be placed on probation. And deferred or unadjudicated probation is
On what case?
DWI thirds not allowed. So it's a conviction.
Deferred, you know.
Sir?
You can't do deferred, I don't think.
No, that's disallowed for driving while intoxicated cases. So that's what we are looking at. A pre-sentence report has been prepared. Have the parties had an opportunity to review it, and are there any corrections or changes to it?
I've reviewed it. I don't have any objections, but let me give you this. I wanted to add something to it. I brought this to the probation officer 2 weeks ago. Which was a week ahead of the hearing, the first hearing. This was supposed to be heard last Friday, and I brought it 2 Fridays ago, and somehow it didn't get into it. But it's just medical proof that she has a pretty serious osteoporosis, weakness of the brittleness of the bones. She's broken her hip. She's been on a walker. It'll probably be the rest of her life.
But yet she can still drive a 4,000-pound missile.
Evidently, yes. But I said,
I haven't been able to, sir, at all.
Since when? Well, we know in October 2023 you were.
No, I mean,
That's when you were caught
Yes.
in the DWI.
but I have not driven since when I had my accident, December
of 2025, of 2024.
or 2023, same year.
No, that's not the real problem. The problem is this is your 5th DWI that we know about. 4. No, man, you got 4 prior convictions. In May 31st, 2007, County Court of Law 3 of Jefferson County, you were convicted to operating a motor vehicle while intoxicated. After that, on August 27th, 2008, which would be a little over a year later, in County Court at Law 3, another operating a motor vehicle in a public place while intoxicated. Then a little over 4 years later, on December 3rd, 2012, you picked up 2 cases. You were convicted of 2 cases in cause number 907764 and 12-15124 out of the 252nd District Court next door. Those were 2 separate DWI.
Yeah, she was
that were handled in the same proceeding, but this is your 5th DWI.
Yeah, the 4th one, Your Honor, was used to revoke her probation on the 3rd. And that's why they were both the same day.
I know that's still bad.
Yeah,
but here's the problem this is the problem. She's standing there,
yeah,
but is not appearing coherent. I know more about her criminal history than she does. This is your 5th DWI, ma'am. You're saying it's not. We got to resolve that first. You should know more about your life than I should ever.
Right.
But why are you saying this is your?
I didn't think it was, sir. That's the God's truth.
Well, I think
I
you
thought
got,
they
there's some
could
mental
do that
problems here.
Or
I think there's some mental problems here. I mean, what's the state say? Or do we have 4 separate prior convictions of DWI?
Yes, Judge, we do.
okay.
You want me to show them to you?
No, believe me.
But I shouldn't have to be trying to convince you. This is your life.
Well,
You should be more intimately familiar with your mistakes than me,
I know how many times I got arrested.
ma'am.
I know how many times I got arrested. Arrested.
That's not a conviction. Being arrested, that's probable cause that you might have done something wrong, but you're presumed innocent unless you're found guilty. That's what's important for convictions. It's not a good deal to be arrested for whatever reason. That needs to be fixed, but until you're found guilty, or unless you're found guilty, we're not talking about any other arrests. We're talking about convictions here in this.
Okay.
And that's what sentencing is all based upon, criminal history of convictions and the circumstances of this crime. And it's DWIs that's your only criminal history, but you got what's that? This last time they gave you a break on your third, you were given a break. You were placed on probation, and then that was revoked with another DWI. And then you were sentenced to 5 years in prison, right?
Correct.
Okay. But you understand the way things happen is when you commit further or subsequent criminal behavior in the same subject matter, the penalties go up. You don't get less punishment for subsequent behavior of the same type. Do you understand?
Right.
All right. I just wish you'd make the right decision when you get into a 4,000-pound missile. It does terrible tissue damage when it hits humans in collisions.
Yes, sir.
And we have this every day. We have to deal with tragedies in this room on misuse of motor vehicles.
And here's the turning point. The defense is asking for less time than her previous sentence, despite more offenses. But the judge is focused on one principle: deterrence. If punishments get lighter as crimes stack up, what message does that send? At this moment, you can feel it. The decision is basically already made.
I'm looking at what was presented. I guess, Frank, you presented this from Diagnostic Health.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay.
And I gave it didn't get in our report, but I brought it to her 2 weeks ago, which is the week ahead when we were supposed to be here the first time. But it's showing that she does have a pretty serious osteoporosis. She's had a broken hip and what else?
Broken back, broken shoulder, and broken knee.
And she doesn't walk hardly anywhere except her home. She doesn't go to the grocery store or anything like that. And she'd even be willing to, but she even going to probation would be difficult. And she doesn't want probation. What she'd like, Your Honor, and I know it's kind of unusual, is 2 years jail time, and she'd pay a $5,000 fine, and you could even add safe fee. She's never gone to drug treatment or anything ever, or alcohol treatment. She's not an addict; she's an alcoholic.
Well, how do I put her in safe P, substance abuse felony punishment, when she goes to prison?
That is prison.
No, that's a condition of probation. That's the
Well,
way we do that. It's safe P is not supposed to be
she doesn't. Yeah.
punishment. It's a medical facility, but that's not a condition under the statute when you get, if
But
they want to send her,
Yeah.
if the if the state of Texas wants to send her to a facility, I guess I can't stop that as part of her confinement, but I can't order it and then
Yeah.
place her in prison. But also the problem is, Frank, is it defies logic and the historical significance of the way the criminal system works. You don't get less punishment for the same subsequent misbehavior. That'd be, what kind of deterrence aspect is that? It's supposed to deter people by more punishment each time you make the same wrong choice.
Well, because of her health issues, Your Honor, she's willing that you'd give her 2 years jail and she'd voluntarily pay a $5,000 fine only because of her health concerns or concerns for her. That's the unusual circumstance. I understand that each time you commit a DWI, you don't get less punishment.
Well, that's what y'all are proposing. 2 years in prison is less punishment than we had last time.
But you'll pay a fine of $5,000. Let's just make finally at least make some money.
Here's what's fair is fair. Just because somebody can pay a fine, there are most people in here can't. And so you have money, then you can avoid being held responsible. I mean, if I was a poor person, I'd say, I don't have that kind of money. Why do the rich people get treated differently? I thought that we were all treated fairly under the law.
Well,
and that's the way I kind of believe it should be.
I agree with you, Honor,
Okay.
but her health issues are the other factor need to be factored in, and that's why I brought the medical.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's got, she's on a walker. She's got osteoporosis, which is pretty serious thing, and she could just break a bone walking, not just falling or something.
Okay, but she can still drive a car.
No, not like that. I've been able to drive.
Well,
She'd surrender her license if she,
okay. Well, we know you were driving one October 19th of 23.
Yeah.
And then after that, you got sick.
I failed.
You weren't ill before that.
No, I failed.
Well, what was
We're down to
that begs the question. That begs the question. Really, there's a problem when you commit 5 DWIs, man. There's a problem there. And this osteoporosis has just come up after your 5th DWI. How can you explain the misbehavior and the wrong choices?
It was wrong.
How many wrong mistakes do you have to make to do something about it? We even tried to help you with probation, and that was revoked because you got another DWI.
Right.
Wow, probation. Okay. All right. Okay. What's they say?
Looking over the PSI, Judge, I think what strikes me the most is that the defendant has minimized her responsibility. Until today, it was refreshing a little bit to hear her say, take responsibility. I was wrong.
Okay.
She minimized her responsibility throughout the investigation. Also, the amount.
But she's doing it today.
Today. That's correct.
I guess it's never too late to make an act of contrition.
Also, the number of prior DWIs is a factor. The safety of the community is a factor. The fact that she's already served 5 years at TDC.
What's your
We're recommending the cap, 6 years TDC revocation. I'm sorry, 6 years TDC. I don't feel like safety is appropriate in this case. We're going to defer to you, of course, but that is the state's recommendation.
You heard what the state says, and this group of prosecutors has been very fair, I think. She's asking for 6 years in prison. the last time she was on probation. that's- Let me talk to everybody for just a second.
Yes, you know.
Yeah, Ms. Judice, you're a grown up and you can make that choice. The problem you have here is the way the court feels like things ought to work and the way I do things is that you don't get lesser punishment for the same subsequent misbehavior, crimes. You know, that would not deter crime. That would be working against deterrence. If people knew the more they could get in trouble, the less punishment would be. They would just race to make punishments. So your cap is 6 years imprisonment. Anything to add by anybody else?
No, sir.
Anything from you, man?
Yes.
Okay, then I'm going to find. And I wish this didn't happen. You seem like a nice person. But we're talking about 4,000-pound missiles being driven around,
Yes,
and
sir.
it's hard enough to drive them responsibly when you're sober, the way other people drive too.
Correct.
You got to be defensive. And again, this is your fifth DWI. You have been a felon three convictions ago. I'm going to find you have pleaded guilty in paragraph 1 and true to paragraph 2 in this third-degree felony of operating a motor vehicle while intoxicated. You have pleaded guilty and true to paragraphs 1 and 2 voluntarily, knowingly, intelligently. And you have pleaded true to the allegations in paragraph 2, which state that before you committed this offense, you were convicted of four previous DWIs, 2 of them being felony operating motor vehicles in public places, and you were sentenced to you were placed on probation last time. That was revoked, and you were sentenced to 5 years in prison. The agreement is a cap of 6 years in prison. I hereby find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt of this third-degree felony. In paragraphs 1 and 2, I'm following this agreement. You are hereby sentenced to confinement in the institutional division of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice to serve a term of 6 years. And I just wish we all weren't put in this position. I just wish you
Yes,
would
sir.
fix this mess. But you have to know you are a blink of an eye from fatalities when you're operating a 4,000-pound missile, especially intoxicated. And not only you, but everybody else on the road relies on each other to act responsibly with 4,000-pound missiles zipping around the road. And for whatever reason, you did not learn from these prior convictions. And here we are, put into a situation where I'm disappointed, but this is the just result under these circumstances. All right, anything else?
No, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck, man. Here is this.
Yeah.
Brandon Mingo. Brandon Mingo, that's Brooklyn Brewer.
Haven't seen the attorney yet this morning, Judge.
And Reagan,